Good afternoon, guys. Well, finally I've made it out on a drive. I'm hoping that the weather is going to stay nice and warm. We do have a bit of cloud building, so just keep your fingers crossed. So, but I'm very excited to be here, and I'm really excited to get out on drive finally. So let's see what we can find. There's been a few animals around on the dam cam today. There's been leopards seen this morning. So yeah, let's see what's out there. I'm glad you guys could join us.
Hello everybody, just welcome from behind the camera as well. It is temperature is quite nice at the moment, and as Tara said, we have a bit of clouds in the sky, but hopefully everything will be fine for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, just keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully those gremlins have gone. I know me and technology at the moment is not seeing eye to eye, so we'll just see them. But for those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Tara. I'm just joining the team. This is about my 4th day of being with the team. So if we get a little bit lost, I'm sure you guys will be able to help me out. But as I say, I'm very excited to be around here. My old reserve was up in the Waterberg called Entabeni. Very, very different vegetation. We didn't get as many marula trees as we do get here. We got a lot of different vegetation from here, so it's going to be quite exciting for you guys to actually help teach me a few things as well. I'd say my strengths are on the birds, animal behaviour, mammals. I do know my plants from my area, so as I say, hopefully I will be able to recognise a few, which I have been able to do. But those that I can't, as I say, I will be calling on you guys to help me as well. You may notice from my accent, I'm not South African. I am English. I've always had a love of the wild ever since I was younger, and this was the natural progression for me to come out here. I've really wanted to live the experience. I didn't want to just visit on holiday. It had to be living the experience. So that's what drew me out here to become a ranger. Okay, so do you know which road we're on at the moment?
This is...
Okay, I think, was it the leopard that crossed here this morning? I think it might
I'm
have
not
been.
sure, I wasn't on the morning drive.
Somewhere around this area, I think.
Just keep our eyes open for leopard tracks then.
So the leopards in this area act very different to the leopards that I had in my reserve. I saw maybe 8 in about 3.5 years, so we didn't see them as often as you guys do see them down here in Djuma, which, I say, was another very big reason I wanted to come out to this side of Africa, or South Africa. So I'm hoping to, oh, there we go, we've got some baboons right up ahead of us. Now again, this is another animal we didn't see too often in Entabeni. We're getting the dominant male baboon shouting at us. Now that's obviously a threatening shout, just, hey, stay where you are. But unfortunately where we were, the farmers, it was a big farming community, and baboons have been known to take livestock, baby livestock, like lambs and things like that. So the farmers obviously don't want baboons around, and they will shoot at them, and anything negative like that has an immediate impact on their behavior, and they will tend to associate humans with bad things, so they will tend to run away whenever they see humans, and that's exactly what happened on my reserve, on my old reserve. So they would run away as soon as they would see a vehicle. Now over the 3.5 years, we did start to see a difference in their behavior, and they're actually starting to calm down, and they would stop and not run as far, but they were still fairly scared. Unfortunately, a good thing takes a long time to instill in an animal, but a bad thing is instantaneous. Now I'm just going to see if we can pull forward, see if we can get a better angle at them. I know the big male is shouting, but it's just rather more, hey, I'm bigger than you can't attack me, that sort of thing. So I think they're still going to stay around and see if they'll still feed. but we'll just see if we can get a better view for you. Okay. Hi Anne, you just asked where I am from England. I originally moved from Lancaster. I was born in Lancaster Royal Infirmary and moved around the country quite a bit with my father's work, so I know quite a lot of places in England. But we ended up in a small village called Arnside, and that's up in Cumbria and the Lancaster border. There we go, we got the baboons eating there. Now just remember, baboons will differ from other monkeys. They have this very long snout and it actually protrudes off the face. Whereas the monkeys that we get here, the vervet monkeys, they have a black face with a sort of a greyish silver colour body, and their faces are a lot more flatter. So very easily distinguished between the two. Baboons are much, much bigger, and they tend to walk with the tail curled over, and it's a much shorter tail. The monkeys will hold the tail out for balance, especially when they're in the trees, running along the ground. They'll hold it straight out as well. So very easy to tell if it's a baboon or a monkey. So you can still hear that male calling, but you can see the others are quite happy just eating from the tree there. There's a nice one in the tree just to the right.
So I'm just having some trouble. I can't really go in more right.
Now just remember, baboons are very sociable creatures. They will live in troops, and the troops can number up to 100 sometimes. Obviously that's not the norm, but 100 it can be in some areas. This looks like quite a small group, but it could be there's more in the bush that we're not seeing. Now when a female wants to mate, you'll see around her rear end swell up, and it actually looks quite painful. I wouldn't like to be a baboon, I must admit, but when she's ready to mate, it will swell up, and that's very attractive to the males, and they will then go and try and mate with her. Now male baboons, they have a hierarchy, but you'll have a group of males that are in charge of the troop. So it's called an oligarchy society. So you have an alpha male, beta male, and it goes down to about 4 or 5 males, and they will control the group's movements. Now remember, baboons are part of the primates, so they are omnivores. They will eat insects, they will eat meat, they will eat the fruit, the leaves, things like that as well. So depending on what's around over the year, over the seasons. So you can see the big male baboon that's shouting to us now. Unfortunately the camera can't swing round too far. But when we lose sight of these baboons here, we'll see if we can swing the car around a little bit more. There's some nice views of them here.
Just got a vehicle behind us. Maybe if you just pull in with your nose that way, and we'll also have a better view.
Yeah, we're just going to see if we can get a view of the baboons in the tree at the back. Is that any better for you?
Yeah. Can you go? Can you put your nose in there, Tara?
Yeah, I'll try. So that big male sitting, posing for us at the moment. It's really nice.
That's good.
Is that okay? Okay, I've just had a question, not sure who from. Is the baboon shouting at us or a leopard? I'd say it's most likely as we were driving along, we didn't hear him until we saw them. So I'm pretty sure it'd be for us, but we'll keep a lookout just in case. The reason why I'm saying it's probably us as well, if there's a leopard around, you will tend to get more than one baboon shouting. And that's basically a behavior that a lot of animals will do, especially if they live in a group. If more animals pick up the alarm call, it means the leopard or whatever predator is around doesn't even have a chance at creeping up on an animal. If one hears or sees something and the next animal sees the same thing or hears the same thing and they agree, they'll take up that alarm call, and then the whole of the troop or antelope or whatever will pick up that alarm call, and the predator knows, okay, I've lost my element of surprise, I'm not going to waste that energy, and that's how it actually works. So it's a warning for the other animals in the area, but it's also to tell the predator, hey, we've seen you, don't even try it. Now you can see he's actually calmed down now, and again the other baboon are very relaxed as well, and if there was a predator around, you get them all looking as well as stop feeding and also shouting. Now, unfortunately, as I say, baboons can be highly aggressive creatures, and luckily the baboons here still have respect for humans as well as obviously the other animals in the area. In Cape Town, they have been known to actually go right up to people and take food out their hands. They've been quite aggressive towards humans as well, and unfortunately it's because humans feed them. So these animals have lost that fear of human. So they think, well, we can intimidate them, they will give us food. So they think they've got a nice, easy ride. And unfortunately, as I say, it has got out of hand a little bit. So they have had to try and put a stopper on it, but I'm not sure how it's going at the moment. But that's why, as I say, baboons, they have these huge, huge teeth, massive canines, and they're very, very strong as well. And from my reserve, there's a very famous guy called Eugene Morais. Now, he is one of South Africa's geniuses, and he was around the 1900s, and he was a botanist, a zoologist, an entomologist, the local sheriff. He was a doctor as well. He also wrote a lot of poems, and his research was based around baboons and termites, and he documented 2 male baboons killing a male leopard on a special rock that's called Honglip, that is one of the main features in that area. He actually documented that. So as I say, you do need to give these animals a lot of respect. There's not many animals that will take on the leopard and actually kill it. But there was documentation. Again, not the norm. I don't know if it's happened here. You heard of it?
No, I haven't heard it from around here.
So let's say it's not the norm, but it can happen. You can see they're nice and relaxed again. Okay. Okay, I've got another question. Again, we don't have a name, but do males and females groom, or is it just males, females, females? Grooming is a big part of their society. As I say, with most animals that are grouped together, they need to strengthen bonds, and grooming is one of the ways they do that. So you will get males and females grooming each other. You tend to get the subordinates going up to the more dominant animals and grooming them, and they also can sort of increase their ranking, if you like, by doing that, maybe gain some protection. You also get the youngsters going and grooming the old grooming the young. So it's a very big part of family life, if you like. Lions is also a very big part of their life. They will also groom each other. Even impala, with those big herds, they will also groom each other, and it's just known as allo grooming. It's a shame we didn't get a name for that question. It's a very good question. I like that question. Now this tree that they're eating, it looks like a curry. I don't know if the viewers can agree with me or not, but it definitely does look like a curry. Curries have a trifoliate leaf, so they'll have three parts to the leaf. It does look like it from here. Curries also, they have very nice berries on them, very small, so you have to be there all day eating them. But you can also make a beer from the berries, so it can be quite useful to humans as well. The tree further back that we're looking at now, I'm not too sure. It looks possibly like a sickle bush or something, but I can't quite make it out. It's a beautiful shot there.
Thank you.
That one looks a bit camera shy, eh? That's a nice one. Now curry trees, it definitely does look like a curry to me. Curry trees were used by the Bushmen to make bow shafts and the arrow shafts, because it's quite a supple wood. Small branches and fairly small, when they're saplings, fairly small trunks. So they'd actually use them for bows and arrows. So it's like quite a useful tree.
Looks like he wants to make a bow.
Yeah, I think so. So you do get some monkeys who will actually use the tail to grip the trees, especially if you go to South America. The spider monkey is quite famous for it, and they'll have a bare patch on the end of their tail, and that allows them to wrap it around the tree, and they can actually use their tail as a fifth limb. Unfortunately, it looks, well, the baboons won't use their tail like that, it just seems to just hang there. They will use it as communication to a certain degree, so if it's sort of straight up or if it's flat, it'll mean certain things, but they won't use it to actually climb with like the spider monkeys from South America. Chameleons also have what we call a prehensile tail, where they can do that. They'll wrap the tail around the branch of the tree just to steady them, let them move around a little bit easier. It looks like his cheeks are nice and full with those berries there. There you go, you can see those small berries on there quite nicely now. Now they'll be picking off the red ones. When they're green, they'll give them quite a bad stomach upset. Amazing to actually see the detail of the ear, just like our ear. And what's shaken me actually is when I saw a porcupine. They also have very similar ears to the baboon here. An animal you wouldn't expect to have, you know, an ear that's very close to a human, but it does look like that. It's quite amazing.
Little one is very, very camera shy.
Yeah. So it's always worth just sitting and watching an animal for a little while, because you start getting different behaviours, especially when you're sat there. They get used to you being there and they start getting more relaxed and they'll start playing around. So we might even get the younger ones coming out once they realise it to be okay. You can see that little one in the background now.
On cue.
Yeah.
Perfectly on cue.
So it's always worth just sitting and watching sometimes, just to let them get relaxed around you. And you can see the big male isn't shouting at us anymore. He's actually in the back tree still, just chilling out, just keeping a watch on us, but he's no longer afraid of us. And this man in front of us is just not caring. As long as there's food, he's happy. And now he's had enough of us. It looks like there's a female just stood up next to that big male. You can see her backside's actually slightly swollen if she stands a little bit further to the left of the tree. It looks like she's actually displaying it to him as well. And when they are ready to mate, they'll actually put their head down and show their rear end and really show it off to the male. There you go, he's following her look. Finding a nice quiet spot.
Let's give them their privacy.
Yeah, they found a room. There you go, there's a nice big female in front of us again. You can see also her rear end is also nice and swollen. You can see the difference there. And it sounds like they've just mated. I don't know if you did you get the butterfly in that shot? There's an African monarch that just came in, but I think it didn't fly close enough to the female. Let's see if it'll actually land. It looks like it's going to fly over towards the female. It's an orange butterfly with white stripes on it. And the African monarch is one of the most toxic butterflies in South Africa. When it's a caterpillar, it'll actually eat highly toxic plants. They'll get facilitated in its body, so when it emerges as a butterfly after its pupa stage, it will then contain these toxins. And any animal that sees this butterfly, if they've tasted it before, they will know to spit it out immediately, because it's highly toxic. It's very bitter. I heard a story once where a child actually ate one of these butterflies for whatever reason. She actually did die. So the toxins are quite harmful.
Sits down, I'll try and show it. Now it's going off.
Sorry, we thought it was going to fly over towards the baboons, but it just flew off. I say it's quite a common butterfly. We might still see some more around in the next few days. And you have to be careful though, not all butterflies like that are the African monarch. There is a mimic butterfly that the female will mimic the colours, and they're pretty spot on as well. But if you check the flight, the ones that don't contain the toxins, that just mimic the colours, they tend to fly quite rapidly because they know that there is going to be danger for them being eaten. Whereas the African monarch is quite a lazy flyer because it knows it's not really got a care in the world. Oh, that was a beautiful shot there as well. I can't believe how much he's fitting into his cheeks here. Yes.
Yeah.
See if we can get a shot of him. Getting quite brave, this one now. Looks like she's spitting more out than what's actually being eaten there. And it could be, you can see they're green, it could be that they're not quite ripe yet, and that's why she's spitting them out. They're going to have quite a bitter taste to them. I was hoping once they settle down we might just see them grooming like we were discussing earlier, but it looks like they're still too happy eating. Okay, that little male is actually telling me he's not happy about me being here. But he's quite a young male, so it's probably he's just trying to assert his authority, and he hasn't actually got any at the moment. So he's trying to dominate the next best thing, and unfortunately it's not going to work with me. Sorry, little one. I say that whole body motion of sort of pushing, bobbing down. So he's just a juvenile who's trying to look big in front of his mates. There you go. We won that battle, so he's deciding he's going to go and feed instead. Alrighty, we're ready to go on then.
Cool.
And leave these baboons to their own devices.
They're actually quite relaxed. Normally they also run away, but
is it? Okay.
That's quite cool.
Well, I think because we actually stopped to begin with and then got closer, I think that's possibly what made them realise, okay, we come in peace.
Sure. Those of you who's wondering what that little shed almost is, what they were sitting on, that's the diesel pump, where there's a borehole, and that's where all our water comes from.
Sorry, not probably the best place to stop, but it's quite nice to see the baboons, and as you say, if they tend to run away, then it's quite nice that you have a nice sighting of them.
No, for sure. Thanks guys, check you later.
Yeah, thanks a lot guys. You see that little one's coming out now, nice.
Nice, suddenly brave though.
Yeah. Only brave until it starts going wrong, and then it's running back to mummy. Very much so. Protection of the mother, always got to have it. So going from Philemon's dip onto
Philemon's cut line.
Philemon's cut line. Okay. And who is Philemon?
I'm not sure who Philemon is actually.
Okay. So as I say, I was a zookeeper by trade. Did zoology university as well, so I learned a lot about animal behavior, and actually from the zoo I learned a lot about the animals as well. And I actually did look after some baboons. They were quite a handful, and we actually had to go in with them, so they used to share the same field as the rhinos and the giraffe. So there was one day I had to try and fend off one of the big male baboons, and unfortunately baboons do not recognize humans, females, as being dominant, because in their society only the males are dominant. Even the lowest ranking male is higher than the highest ranking female. So it's very difficult for a woman to chase away a baboon for this reason. So there's me and there's this baboon, and he's eating the leaves, he's quite happy, but then he's getting a little bit too close for my liking, because I was trying to put some leaves upon a pole for the grass to eat later on. And he looked at me, I looked at him, I said, nah, you're too close. So I started asserting my authority, so he started moving, and I had to chase him away up towards his house, and every time I thought I had chased him enough, he turned around and started giving me that motion, that jumping motion. And that was him again, saying, hey, I'm tougher than you. So then I had to chase him off again. And it took me the whole length of this field to try and chase him off. So that was quite an interesting one. But as I say, it is doable, but you have to make your voice a lot more lower. So we're going on to...
I'm not sure what this road is called. It goes to Treehouse Dam. This is maybe just Treehouse Dam Road.
Could well be.
Look there.
Oh, a little biker. There we go, through the bush, through the bush. Nope. Missed it. Unfortunately, dikers are very, very quick. I just saw literally the back end running. Diker just meaning to dive in Afrikaans, and that's exactly why it's called that, because it dives through the bush so quickly. You very rarely get them staying put as well. Especially if there's leopard or lion in the area, they'll be very used to just making a run for it. I'm just going to go quite slowly through this area, because it's fairly thick bush, so there could be a tail dangling, a horn just poking out from somewhere. You feel the humidity is going up quite a lot now.
Yeah.
It's nice and warm, but the humidity is there. I'm hearing a little squirrel in this tree here. Maybe not a squirrel. Something in this tree just here. Let's see what it is. Come on, little one, show yourself. I think it might have been a little bird, but I didn't recognise the call. So to begin with, it sounded... Okay, it's in here now. Okay, I think it's flown off. Okay. Oh, little Batis. Did you get it?
No.
A little bird that was just sitting on the tree here just flew off. Little black and he, again. Okay. So with the little Batises, it's quite nice. They actually almost say 3 blind mice when they're calling. So if you listen out for if I can do it, you can see how my impressions are going to go today. It's almost saying 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. And they have a little spot underneath the chin. Females are brown with a brown spot, where the males are black. They have a black spot underneath. Okay, so we are at a down.
Treehouse down.
Treehouse down. Let's see if there's any activity around here. Really much going on. Do you guys get crocodiles around here or not much?
No, not really. Yeah. Got some tracks of really small ones, but I've never seen one.
Okay. So we've had some nice hippo in Gowrie Down. There's been about 5 of them today. Or yesterday. I don't know how many there were today. I think there was 3 again, or 3.5 should I say.
Yeah, I saw 3 today as well. Yeah, let's go straight on this one.
I hope we're going a bit slower than we did on my first drive out. So just to explain to you guys, the reserve I was on was about 22,000 hectares. So for us to get to any sightings, we had about 7 lions, 9 rhino, 16 elephants. So to get to any of the sightings, you had to put a bit of distance in sometimes. So our normal grain drive time was probably about 20 kilometers an hour just to get anywhere. And it could take about an hour from one side of the reserve to the other. And if the lions were down there and your guests wanted to see lions, then you had an hour's drive even before you started. And that's without stopping for anything else, which obviously we did. So just to explain why I set out quite a little bit faster last time than I should have done. Just in the sickle bush here.
Got some bad breakup at the moment.
Something that just shot up in there. Sorry, I can't copy you.
No, we've gone through the breakup, everything's fine again.
Unfortunately, I saw something, and there was possibly a lizard that shot up the branch of that sickle bush, and unfortunately it was in a little bit of a bad signal area, but by the time we got back to it, it had gone anyway. It's possibly some form of skink or gecko or something like that. I didn't see it too well. There's some birds there on the left. See, it looks like a bee eater.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Can you get a colour on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the not great angle for the colour. Can't see too well. Unfortunately, my binoculars, only half of the binoculars is working, so I'll have to try and fix my binoculars. But if anyone can actually see nicer, my screen's a little bit too bright. It looks like a white-fronted bee-eater, but I can't quite see it too well, just from where the white is under the chin. But if it could be a little bee-eater as well. If any of the viewers can actually get a nice view of it. Yeah, I'm just trying to find out if any of the viewers can actually see it clearly on their screens, and just let me know if they can see if it's a little bee-eater or white-fronted. I think actually it could be a little bee-eater, just because that patch underneath the beak is a lot brighter. It looks slightly yellow to me. And I can also hear some babblers in the background as well. I don't know if you guys are able to pick them up, but just to the left of the bee-eater, just sitting right on top of the branch.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit on full zoom at the moment, so kind of struggle to see the babblers.
There you go, there's the babbler. Got an arrow marked babbler just in the tree, just down to the right of the bee-eater. There we go. That's a really nice shot of a babbler. You can see it's an arrow marked babbler, and they have arrow marked type of markings on the breast there. Now, it's unusual to have one on its own. It's possible it's making a lot of noise because it's lost the rest of its family, because they tend to live in family groups. Now, the babblers, I said to you about the baboons and the lions grooming each other when they're part of a family. The babblers will actually call to strengthen the bonds. And it's called allilomimetic behavior, a bit of a long word, but they strengthen the bonds by calling, and they'll call every so often as a group. But it definitely sounds like this one's lost its family. It's frantically trying to call them. Shame. So there's nothing come back about the bee-eater, so we're gonna move on. So unfortunately, just with the light, I just can't get a positive ID on which type of bee-eater it is. The bee-eaters have quite a long bill, because as the name suggests, they eat the bees. So when they catch the bees, they will find a branch and they'll hit the bee on the branch so that the sting falls out. But the bill is long enough so that when they catch the bee, it's not going to sting them in the face. And once that sting falls out, they can swallow it and it's not going to harm them.
Let's go straight here. Elephant Skull Road.
Okay, we're going on to Elephant Skull Road apparently. Is the Elephant Skull still around?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's a shame. That'd have been nice to see. And maybe it'll actually lead us to an elephant. As I say, I haven't had much experience with bulls in must, as most of our elephants have been females. So it'll be quite interesting as and when we come across one.
I'm hoping we're going to spend some time with elephants today. Certainly my favourite.
Is it?
Yeah, I enjoy spending time with leopard and lion and everything, but there's just something about sitting with either big elephant bull or a herd of elephants.
Yeah.
Something very special about that.
I don't know if some of the viewers were there a couple of days ago on the dam camps. We had a really nice herd of elephants coming down, and the babies were playing, they were wrestling with each other, and the females were drinking. It was really nice. Did you see that?
No, I didn't
I missed
actually.
it. I should have called you. So I must admit I like the rhinos as well. I've got a very soft spot for rhinos, especially after working with them very, very closely. They're highly intelligent, and to look at them you wouldn't have thought so. Very, very intelligent animals.
I would love to see some black rhino. I've never seen a black
Yeah,
rhino.
I've never seen a black rhino in the wild either. Apparently a little bit more aggressive than the white rhino. I don't know them really.
Yeah. Should be finding it soon.
So you're just breaking up a little bit. Here you guys don't have many giraffes around here either.
Well, we've had quite a bit back around the dam and so forth, but lately we haven't seen the giraffe.
Yeah. I'll have to definitely keep a lookout for some giraffe then. If anybody does have any questions, please feel free to let us know. Do email safari.tv and
Let's go right.
okay, I think we have an impala just here, just to the left. He was hiding behind the bush there. Just gonna try and sneak up.
A little bit back still, that's perfect.
Just there. A nice big ram there. Now, as I was saying earlier, impala will make huge herds, huge herds, but it's also fairly common to see impala on their own when they're male. Now this male, he'll be holding a territory. You can see he's in beautiful condition. You can see that neck is very, very thick. And there's another one just to the right from that as well there. So it looks like maybe there's a bachelor group here. But as I say, you will see male impala on their own, holding a territory. And as you come up to the breeding season, which around Entebbe is about March, April, sometimes moving into May, depending on the amount of nutrients in the ground. And that's what will trigger the breeding of the impala especially. So it will be the shortening of the day length, which then it changes the nutrients in obviously the grasses and the plants because they start dying back, and that's what triggers the females to start coming into estrus, and obviously that also will trigger the males to start increasing the testosterone into their body and start mating or trying to mate. So they'll hold onto a territory. The bigger, stronger males will hold the better territories. They'll probably find that there's water in that territory as well, but definitely the good feeding areas. He will then protect that area, so he will protect that boundary from any intruders. So you can see that's why now he's not a territorial male at the moment, because of this other male that's with him. He's tolerating this other male. I think you can't see him in the shot at the moment, he's just on the right side of the bush there, but They'll say he is there. It's definitely the male on the left that he had in shot. He definitely looks the bigger of the two, the more dominant of the two. The male's neck is very, very thick. So when the females come into the territory, he will actually defend those females from any of the male rivals. He'll also chase those females back into the center of his territory as well. So if they want to leave, he tells them no way, and he'll try and herd them back into the center of his territory. So it's quite amazing to watch them actually do that. They'll only mate at night, and usually around full moon, I believe. So it just depends, obviously, on when the full moon lies as well. He'll then lose condition, because obviously he's running around after females, he's mating, he's chasing off other rivals. So he'll lose condition quite rapidly. So he won't really eat or drink or look after himself. And if that happens, he'll then be outcompeted by another male. If they do clash once and he loses, he will return to a bachelor group, just a group of young males, and he will then regain his strength and then go back and try and regain his territory again. Now, I did read also when males are choosing a territory, they tend to go back to the areas where they first started. So if they've picked a territory and then they go away being bachelor herd, they'll try and pick a territory the next year in the same area. But the reason why they need to form large groups is because anything and everything will eat impala. From obviously leopard, lion, hyena, but even jackal. Jackal will take down impala by themselves. They'll hunt impala if they can. And even eagles. Eagles will take the young impala. So literally anything and everything will try and eat impala. And that's why they need to build or make these very large herds. And when the males aren't holding territory, they'll also make use of these herds for protection. Now if you see the males also rubbing their heads, there's actually a gland in between their eyes, a sebaceous gland, and they'll rub their head to mark the territory with that gland, and you'll see them thrashing the vegetation a little bit as well. They'll also use the middens, and again that's a normal way for males especially to mark territory. They'll use these middens and they'll defecate in the middens on a daily basis and make sure that every other impala ram knows he is there and he's still alive, and that's why they'll do it daily as well. Some antelope go as far as rolling in those middens. Impala, I haven't really seen them do that, but Gnu will, the wildebeest, they will roll once. Obviously they don't want the wet stuff sticking to the fur, but once it's dried up, he'll roll in it and make sure he smells of himself very strongly, and he'll also wipe his face in the mud to make himself look more attractive to females. But that's with the wildebeest. Okay. Okay, thanks Adam for your question. Is there any springbok in Djuma? And if not, why not? Basically, I wouldn't have thought springbok would be found here. It's not the right habitat. Do they have springboks?
No, not around here.
Okay, so yeah, it's not really the right habitat unless they've been brought in. They prefer the grasslands down towards the Free State. They need much more of a pure grassland, and usually in the highlands as well. So this is not really the right habitat for them. It's in the low veld. As I said, we need the open plains rather than the bush. Now impala differ from the springbok. Springbok have a white face, whereas you can see the impala have a brown face. Springbok also have a white belly. Now you can see on this impala here, he's got the dark brown, the lighter brown, and then quite a cream right underneath there. So the springbok have the dark, the white, and then a black stripe separating the two. Both male and female springbok will have horns. That's another difference between impala. Only the male impala, the rams, will have horns. The females don't. And impala are also very successful. They can eat both the leaves, so they're a browser, and also the grass, which is a grazer. Most antelope will pick one or the other. They'll only get to eat one or the other. Springbok, as I say, they go for the grass. They won't really go for the leaves as such. Alright, we're going to leave these guys now and see if we can move on and find some other animals for you. It's sounding quite quiet out there on the radio as well. It doesn't sound like there's been much movement at the moment. It could be because it's still quite humid here. But as it gets cooler, we may start getting some movement of the larger animals.
We're going to get quite a bit of breakup now.
Are we through?
No.
Not yet.
For a little, yeah, we actually need to get onto the main road. So.
Something running there.
Maybe a squirrel, eh?
There's something small running just here.
Oh, the damn wall or what?
No, just literally just in this open plain there. There's something running around. There we go. Mongoose!
Mongoose.
Mongoose! Where did they go?
There's one that's...
Oh, there we go. Ah! Yes, this! Surrounded by them. Look like there's a tree squirrel in with the mongoose as well. There we go. There goes the tree squirrel. No, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. Just see if you can move around a little bit. There we go, there goes the tree squirrel. The way. It's a brown.
Yeah, I just keep on going. It's just...
Still breaking. Yeah, unfortunately we couldn't stop and see if we goose. There's a bit of breakup happening there, so unfortunately we couldn't stop there. But as we drove by, it looks like they were keeping well low to the ground. Possibly even have the burrow there. It's quite nice to see that those two tree squirrels, as I say, they were quite light brown in comparison to the dwarf mongoose. So nice.
Yeah, this is actually the Mapojos.
Okay.
Killed a buffalo a few months ago, and this is what is left
Okay.
of the buffalo.
Sure. Look at that spine in the back there, the vertebrae. So I'm told them, how do you say their name again?
Mapojos.
Yes, I'm going to have to try and...
I've heard people call it Mapogos as well, so you can call them Mapogos.
Well, I'm English, so... Mapogos. Mapojos.
There we go.
There we go, Mapojos. So yeah. Now, where is the rest of the kill? Well, it would have been dragged away, probably by some of the lions, maybe hyenas in the area, maybe even jackal. Bush pig will also eat a bit of meat, so they may have taken a bit away. So that's why even when there's a kill around, you won't necessarily get the whole carcass still staying, and the bones especially. Now, other animals will also take bone, and it's not just hyenas that will eat bone, and obviously you've got the vultures as well to consider, but you'll also get things like kudu eating bone. You'll get giraffe. Giraffe will even pick up small pieces and they'll be transferred to the back of the mouth, and they'll pull very funny faces when they're eating it. But they will walk maybe 1 or 2 k's while they're eating and then spit it out. You'll also get tortoises eating the bone and porcupine. But those kudu, porcupine, tortoises, they won't really take the bone away with them as far as I know. They may just chew on it while it's there, especially the kudu. I've seen them just put their head down, chew a bit, and then move on. Now the reason why they do it, calcium and phosphorus, especially in the winter time. So as we move into the winter, we may see some animals actually coming to a place like this and eating the bone.
Let's go right here then.
Cape turtle dove, very common to a lot of people, not really an interesting bird. So we've got the Franklin joining her on the road again. But if you're ever stuck in the bush, okay, copy. So if ever you're stuck in the bush, in a survival situation, and you need to get to water, this little bird will help you find it. A little Cape turtle dove. So if it's flying, okay, copy.
Okay, but maybe let's go that way.
Yeah, trying. Okay, copy. So yeah, with the dove flying off, I'll tell my story. If it's flying high and straight, it's flying to...
It's a bad dove, Caroline, do you want us to come to the Nkombi, or do you want us to just your camera and we go somewhere else? Okay, cool, just...
I didn't hear it. Okay, so I will try and finish up the story. Unfortunately, we keep going through these non-signal areas. But if if this dirt is high and it's flying straight, it'll fly to water. If it's early in the morning or later on in the afternoon, and if it's flying and it's dipped flight, then it means that it's been to water. So it will help if ever you're stuck in the bush, it may save your life. So I think it's a very important story to tell. I'm sticking to it. Okay, I believe you guys have got a picture of the rhino at Gowrie Dam on your screen. We're trying to make our way there as well. I haven't seen the rhino here on Juma yet, so I'm quite keen to get and hopefully see them as well. But obviously we'll keep our eyes out on if there's any other animals around here. Let's say one of my favourites is the rhinos. I do have a very for them after working with them.
Are they on the other side of the dam or on the camera side of the dam at the moment? Copy, we're about 5 minutes up. Straight.
Okay, it does sound like the rhinos are starting to leave the dam, but we're still going to try and head out there. Okay, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed them drinking at the moment.
Okay, go a little bit faster, eh?
Are you breaking up a little bit?
Copy.
Sorry, little Franklin.
Let's take a right here.
Okay, which road is this?
Not sure.
Fair enough.
I know the main road. We were on Weaver's Net and we're going to Twin Dams Road.
Ah. Oh, I see a rhino, but... Oh, sorry, little one.
Yeah, this one is always very skittish.
Okay.
It's really
See that close. Sorry guys, wasn't expecting a rhino to be around this corner.
That was actually buffalo, eh?
No. Oh, is it? Oh, it is a buffalo. Sorry. I was going to say, I didn't think we were that close. Okay, we do have a buffalo on the right here as well. Okay, I think since you guys have got a view with the camera at the dam, I think let's stay... Yeah, as I say, I think with you guys having the picture of the rhino in the camera for the dam, I think we'll stay with the buffalo a little bit as well, so you can view both. I wonder if you guys have been watching the dam cam, there's been a couple of buffaloes coming down to the dam every day to come and wallow and cool off, and I'm wondering if this is one of those males. And the other one might be around here. Now that stance for a buffalo, especially if you're on foot, that's not a good stance. But he's just checking us out as much as we're checking him out. So unfortunately we gave him a bit of a scare. So unfortunately, as I say, he is looking at us, but we gave him a bit of a scare. Yes, as I can smell him now as well. Buffaloes do smell like cattle, so if you can imagine what cattle smell like, that's pretty much what the buffalo smell like. Now he's decided, okay, we just gave him a scare, it's nothing to worry about, and so he's now turning his back on us. Just see if we can see him again around the corner there, just bear with me. Yeah, it's just gone into the bush now. Especially when they look down their nose at you when you're on foot, that is very much a warning, and you've got to watch their behaviour very, very closely, because they could be that they're going to give you a warning charge or even a full-on charge, or they're going to run. So you've got, from that point, you've got to really, really watch what they're going to do. Now that posture is all what we call the alert posture. If I was to have climbed out and walked to him, then we would have seen him either thrashing the bushes around or him running away, that sort of thing. So there's 4 different circles, if you like, around the animal. One, the comfort zone, a warning zone, an alert zone, and a fight or flight zone. And these can change moment to moment, animal to animal. So it really does depend on the situation. But if you're in a comfort zone, it means the animal's okay. He doesn't really know that you're there. If he does, he's not showing any signs of it. The warning, the heads up, that if they know where you are. We're imparting it. Are we through the break?
No, there's still going to be breakups now. We're going to go through this dip and then it should
We're going to have breakup again. Okay, I didn't quite catch the name. Thanks for the question, Richard. Do buffalo and rhino interact with each other? I also am in the same boat. I haven't really seen much of it. But if they do come together, again, it will depend on the circumstances. So they came together at the dam and they were drinking as long as they were sort of quite a distance from each other. I think they'd be okay. They wouldn't really interact with each other unless there's something that they both want. Now, if it's winter time and there's not much food available, they both might want to go for the same patch of grass or something. Then you might get a conflict. But again, it really will be in a harsh winter, I think, for that to happen. Because rhinos and buffalo, they won't be able to breed with each other, so there's no reason for males and males to fight. So the only thing they could really fight about, there's a slender tail mongoose in the road. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, unfortunately they don't stick along too long. Oh, there we go, there's another one. That's unusual. You don't tend to see 2 together. slender mongoose tend to live on their own. So yeah, just to finish off that question, I think it would be very unusual for them to interact unless it's over water or for food in a very, very harsh winter.
Just keep on going.
Oh, beautiful birds there.
No, straight.
So just with the mongoose, we could see that the dwarf mongoose were by the dam we were previously because of the amount of them, and their tail was quite short. If you saw the mongoose on the road, it was quite a long tail with a black tip on the end. So that's a slender tail mongoose, and you tend to find slender tail mongoose on their own. So it could have been that it was a male and female, and they were obviously looking to mate, quite possibly, or it could have been a female with a very old young. That could have been the two situations there. But with the dwarf mongoose, they are gregarious. They do live in a family group again, so that's why we saw a few individuals. If you were able to see on the camera, I wasn't sure I didn't see the shot. Okay, we coming up to where the rhino are. We're just going to see if we can get...
On the left, in the front here.
Oh, there we go. We've got the rhino in the view now. Now I'm just going to approach them. They both have their ears up. I've never approached these two rhino before, so I'm going to take it very slowly. Just let them know that I'm not going to be a threat to them. There we go, we got their heads down, they're looking away from us, so that's nice. Okay, does the road bend round this way? Are they on the road?
Yeah, they're on the road.
Okay. I just want to avoid going off-road wherever possible, because if you go off-road just for the sake of it, you're going to start squalling the environment. So that's why I was just asking Herman if they're on the road, just so we can avoid going off road if we can.
That's Henry.
Thanks, Henry. I'm in Miller. So I'm just going to watch their behaviour for a little bit. This back rhino looks a little bit skittish, so I'm just going to see how they react. I just want to get them to be a little bit more relaxed. And there's some oxpeckers flying away from them there. This is probably, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, especially the viewers as well, looks like it's a female with her last calf, basically. And so it looks like that calf is a little bit more wary of the vehicles. She doesn't seem to be too bothered. She's keeping an ear on us. She's keeping her ear towards where we are, but he's still got his head up. Now that means I'm not overly sure about this. But hopefully he'll pick up on her behaviour and realise, okay, we're not going to do him any harm. Now you'll notice the ears are very much oversized, and that's because you can see with the head down, you can't see the eye. So they're relying on their ears to give them information. They've also got a very good sense of smell as well. So their ears will be turning constantly. And if they can't get what they need from those ears, they'll then lift up their head and try and get the smell. If you can see the eyes, we'll see when we stop now, but they're very small in comparison to everything else, and that's because they're more looking at what they're eating rather than using their eyesight to detect predators. Okay, I'm just going to stay back here, so you can see she's turning around, so we'll just see what she's going to do. So it's a bit of a nasty bend in the road, so I'd have to actually be on top of them, and I don't really want to do that to actually get a nice view. So we'll just stay back here and let them come to us if that's what they wish. You can see she's actually just walking to the left now, so she's... You can see the eyes there, very, very small in comparison to everything else in that youngster there. Again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's looking about 3, maybe 4 years old. You can see it's not quite as high as the back of the mother. Which says to me it's possibly a female, but I'll see when if she turns around we might be able to see. Very difficult to tell the sexes apart. If you look underneath the tail, the females have a ring underneath the tail, whereas the males have a strip of skin underneath the tail. But I'm not going to volunteer. You're going to volunteer to go and lift up the tail.
I'm comfortable behind the camera here.
You can see they've been wallowing in the mud there as well. Now they have quite soft skin. It's actually softer than what you think it is. And obviously it will be thick, but it's still not as thick as what you might think. And they can bleed very easily. If they go through some thorn trees, they can bleed from those thorn trees if they're not careful. So they need to keep that skin in good condition. And they'll actually wallow in the mud to keep their skin protected from the sun. Very good sunblock. Also to moisturize their skin. Obviously it's the world's best moisturizer.
Southwest of
and they'll also put this mud on their skin to protect themselves from any bites and insects. And if there's any ticks, when they rip that mud off, the ticks will come out with that mud as well, stick to the mud and fall out. And obviously it will cool them off as well when they do wallow. Alright, copy that, Henry, thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Sounds like you guys can see us picture in picture at the moment, and sitting very, very comfortable in this seat that Jared made. It's a proper Land Rover seat, so it must be comfortable.
Okay, we're just waiting. These rhinos seem to have settled down, so I'm just going to wait for them just to pop out. As they look like they're going to start walking back this way. Now they settled down a bit. So you can see quite nicely, look at those ears, you can't see the eyes at all, so they would not be able to see over the grass. And that's basically what they eat. These rhinos are built for eating grass. The black rhino are built for eating leaves and branches, so their lip is more like a hook. The white rhino, if you have a look when they come out, is a wide mouth. There you go, he's showing it off quite nicely there. So they have a wide mouth, it acts like a lawnmower to pull up as much grass as possible. The black rhino you'll find more in the thick bush, whereas the white rhino more in the open, but they will move through the bush to try and get to the open spots. But you'll also see that huge lump on the back of their neck there, that's a nuchal lump, and that's to counterweight that huge head at the front there. The black rhino have a slightly smaller head, so they don't need as big a lump at the back, and they will also tend to hold the head up higher, because obviously they're eating the leaves and the branches, so there's no real reason for them to hold the head down as much. Thank you. Okay, a question from Brian. are white rhino less aggressive than black rhino? This I do believe to be true from what I've heard. Unfortunately, I can't really comment from experience because I've never seen black rhino out in the wild. That still is a big tick on my list waiting to be ticked. Unfortunately, Herman also said he's never seen black rhino either, did you?
No, I've never seen.
So, as far as I understand, they are, but it's possibly because of one, where they live, which is in a thick bush. So, if you can imagine, they're going to be living in a very, very thick bush. They're not going to be able to hear as clearly as the white rhino, or smell as clearly. There you go, beautiful shot of that female there. Also, they eat very toxic plants like tambuti, euphorbias, some highly toxic plants. So maybe that's what's giving them a bad attitude, quite possibly. I have heard of stories where black rhino have been fairly relaxed and calm, depending again on the situation. So it could be maybe with them living in the thick bush, people that come across black rhino don't realise they're there until the last minute. So maybe they've already gone through what I was saying about the comfort zone earlier. Maybe they've gone through that, and if they'd have realised earlier, then maybe keeping that comfort zone, the black rhino wouldn't have reacted the way it did. But as I say, I'm only going off of what people have told me from their experience, and obviously what I read in the books as well. So unfortunately I can't comment from my own experience at this stage. Unfortunately I don't think there's black rhino around here, but hopefully if my day is off and I go into Kruger, see if I can find myself some black rhino and have a bit of fun with them and see what happens, see how they react. You know, their mannerisms, that sort of thing. It would be quite interesting. You see the grass in the mouth there?
Yeah.
Okay, what have you just seen? Okay, they're just changing their behaviour slightly. I think one of them saw something. Okay, I take it back. This is a male that we're looking at here. I do apologise. Male with a younger male here. You see that strip and the other obvious there as well. Just a general question, would a lion take on a rhino or a hippo? It is possible. I have seen footage of lion trying to take on hippo. I saw my old reserve, our lions also trying to take on especially the baby rhinos. Again, lions are highly adaptable cats. They will eat anything from termites right through to elephants and anything in between, depending on the situation, depending on the factors that are involved. Is there enough food available for them? If there isn't, what food is available? So if there's a high level of elephants, like in Botswana and Chobe, those lions, there's about 30 of them, and they have decided they're going to eat elephant because there's not really much else. And there's also a very, very big pride to feed. So if the timing is right, quite possibly, but not the norm. Especially the rhinos, rather not the adults, they've got that heavy armour and weaponry going on there, so the lions will come off quite badly. And obviously with the hippos, also their tusks. But if they can jump on the back, then they probably would be able to get a hippo if they did it right. There you go with the question. Just confirm Crystal. Bristol. Okay, sorry Bristol, getting your name wrong a little bit, from Ohio. Great to have you with us. I believe you're 8, so I'm really glad to see your interest in wildlife at a very early age. You'd like to know how many rhino there are. I just want to sort of really confirm how many rhino there are in the world, as in different species, or the amount of animals. Okay, how many species? So the amount of species we've got 2 here in Africa and 3 in Asia. So we have the 2 largest here in Africa. We've got the white rhino and the black rhino. The white rhino about 2.5 tons, black rhino about 1.8 tons. If you go across to Asia, you've got the other 3, the Indian rhino, also known as the greater one-horned rhino. You also have a very hairy little rhino from Sumatra, and that's the Sumatran rhino. If you ever watch The Muppets, it looks a bit like a Muppet character, it's brilliant. And also the Javan rhino, also known as the lesser one-horned rhino. Now, unfortunately, the Javan rhino are the worst for the problem with the horn trade. They're only numbering about 70 in the wild. So compared to the white and black rhino, they really are critically endangered. But sadly, because there's a lot of trade in the horns even now, people still believe that there's medicinal properties associated with the horns and magical properties, and unfortunately that is why rhinos are still on the vulnerable list and obviously critical as well. White rhinos, I'm not entirely sure of the numbers. If one of the viewers can actually look it up for me. When I was doing the presentations at the zoo, there was somewhere between 7,000 and 11,000 white rhino left. The black, I think there's about 2,500. If you go across to Asia, as I say, the Indian, maybe about 1,500 left, and the Sumatran rhino, remembering about 750, something like that. But if any of the viewers can actually just double check on those numbers, because it's been a couple of years since I have checked, so I'd really appreciate it. So if there's any changes, we'll see if we can let you know during the drive.
Can you just come quickly on the other side of the boat for us?
Okay.
There's mobile in the north, there's outbound picture.
Station's just an update on the 2 in Combi. They're thundering south from Gari Dam. Still just myself, Tara, in the lock.
Thanks very much. I'm coming from Papa Road, pushing Sundance Road. I'll meet you there. I'm coming now.
Copy, confirm who's speaking.
From Juma.
Sorry, I didn't copy your name.
I'm Abel from Juma.
Abel.
Good afternoon, Abel. You're more than welcome to join the Incombi log.
Abel is a legend. Abel's been in this area very, very long.
Abel, you're more than welcome to join this Incombi log.
Coming from Mamba Road, I'm approaching Milwaukee to Dam Road. I'll meet you there now.
They're between Inga and Yuriskaya.
Copy, they're between Inga and Yuriskaya.
Very much, I'm coming.
Sorry about that, guys, and just obviously just keeping an update on where these rhinos are going for obviously other guests that are in the area, because obviously they'll also enjoy seeing these animals as well. Just another question I just need to be reminded of who sent it in. Okay, Jack. Hi, Jack. Yeah, you were just wanting to know the difference between the white and the black rhinos. Very, very easy. I'm just going to see what she's going to be like, or what he's going to be like past this bush here. I'm just going to turn off just here. That's what he thinks of us. If they turn their heads again, have a look at the head. You can see it's quite a wide mouth. They eat the grass, whereas the black rhino have a hooked lip, and that allows them to eat branches. They can hook that lip over the branch and pull it down and eat the leaves. Quite interesting, when they take off a branch, they'll chop the branch about 45-degree angle. So if ever you come across a rhino midden and you're not sure if it's a black or white rhino midden or toilet, if you have a look inside, you'll be able to tell from what you find in there, whether it's grass or leaves and twigs. and the twigs, as I said, cut off at 45-degree angle, which is the same as the Asian species, the Sumatran rhino, which is found on the island of Sumatra. So where did they get the names from? They're both grey. Well, actually all species of rhino are grey, apart from the Sumatran. It's got quite a reddish brownish hair, and it can look quite brown as well. It's possibly to do with when the British came over and misinterpreted the Afrikaners. Unfortunately, it's always the British. But the story goes the British misinterpreted the Afrikaans when they asked them what on earth this crazy animal was. And they misinterpreted it as a white rhino, but what the Afrikaners were saying was a wide-mouthed rhino. And the second one to be discovered was a black rhino. So they said, well, the opposite of white is black, let's call it a black rhino. Now, how true that story is, I don't know, and that's the only story that I've heard. So unless some of the viewers can maybe have a look around, see if there's any other stories as to why the white and black, that would be great as well. And if there's any feedback on the numbers of the rhino, that would be great as well. And that young one is still keeping an eye on us. Now, it's often said that rhinos are antisocial, they live on their own, but you can see quite clearly that they seem to like company, and I very much picked that up when I was working with rhino in the zoo. They seem to like that tactile communication. They'll often rub against each other, and especially if it's a female, she might have two calves with her, maybe an older one and one at foot, which is a very young one. That's just all we call it, is a young at foot. So you could have maybe a 5 or 6 year old and maybe a 2 or 3 year old with her if they're all female. If it's a male, I'd say it's quite unusual to have a young male with this older male. I'm pretty sure it is a male that we saw. There's that long piece of skin there. Very unusual though to have this set up, but it could be this young male. He's been forced out from a female, because say if it's a young male, she's had another calf. What I saw in my reserve was the young male who's about 3 or 4 years old. He was forced away from the female when she had her calf. She didn't want him there. So he actually bonded with his sister, who was about 6 or 7, and she'd moved on by that stage. She's ready to have a family of her own. So it could be the similar sort of thing happened here. Maybe this smaller one is a young male, and his mother had another young, and he was just pushed away. And obviously he's a little bit small to be on his own, so he needs the protection. But it could be, as I said, that's why he's with this man, and because he's not receptive, or he's not going to be able to breed, this other male is tolerating him, and maybe he'll teach him. It's also, it could be a non-territorial male, and he's just forming a bachelor group with this other young rhino. But as I say, as yet I haven't been able to determine the sex, but I'm pretty sure it will be a young male with him. So again, it can be normal for rhinos to form a small bachelor group to again learn the skills that they need later on in life, like how to defend themselves, how to fight amongst each other. So it could be that's what's going on here, that he was pushed out a little bit early because of another calf coming in, and because he's male, he's young, he needs to have some form of protection, and he's found this other male just to protect him. Whether it's a territorial bull or not, I'm not sure. Alrighty, I think we'll leave these guys in peace. Especially seeing as that's what one of them thinks of us. It's designed to go to the toilet. I think we'll... Thank you very much. It's nice to hear everybody's enjoying the drive. I'm really glad to hear now that I've actually finally got on a drive, which is great. So I've been itching to get out and seeing what Djuma has to offer. So yeah, I'm really pleased you guys are enjoying it. So feel free to keep sending those questions in to finalcontrol@safari.tv, and Caroline will pass them through to me. I think we'll... Okay, thank you very much for that update. What was it? 80. Who's 80?
Sorry, Abe's, what's his, Abe's.
Okay. Abe. I'm leaving the Tuancombe lock. They were still slowly mobile south.
I'll come through there. Thank you very much.
No, Matata. They're farming south into the old quarantine area. It'll just be yourself in the lock.
Okay, copy. Thank you.
Copy. Have a good drive.
Good.
As it's starting to get cooler, I would say there's still the humidity around, but it is starting to cool off a little bit. We're starting to get a bit darker as well. We're going to start hopefully hearing if there's any lions in the area, because they'll start to call, because it carries a lot further when it's cooler. So they'll be able to carry their message about where they are, the territorial defense, display, that sort of thing, to other lions in the area, and also other predators in the area like the hyena. Okay, we have two buffalo here in the dam. We're going to have a look at the buffalo since the other one ran away. It's possibly the same one, but I didn't notice any distinctive markings on him. I know there have been these two in the area fairly recently. And there's also a hippo in there as well with them. Probably there's the other two that have been there all day. Looks like the female with the baby is on the dam side. We'll just go up onto the wall and see if we can get a nice good shot of them. Yeah, there we go. We've got the three hippo in there.
Try one.
There we go. You can just see ears. Yeah, will do. Okay, thanks for your question, Bill, about the buffalo. Just to reiterate with everybody, these are Cape buffalo. Water buffalo are found in Asia. I'm just wondering if we can just pan out a little bit, because there's the hippo just raising his body out of the water as well. It looks like he might start trying to fight with the other hippo as well. Just want to see if we can get, or unless we can cut to the buffalo in one picture and the hippo in the other. But you can see the hippo is raising his body out of the water, and that could be he's got a problem with them, or he's just moving himself. Maybe it is just he's moving himself. I say when hippos are threatening each other, they raise the body up out of the water, they start snorting a bit, they'll move their back end up and start flicking the tail, and we've had this behaviour a couple of times in the last few days, and I thought we may just get some action. It looks like they're settling down again, so we'll just keep an eye on it. But with the buffalo, you're asking, do they have any predators as well? They will have. The lions do eat buffalo. Again, they'll have to have a few numbers, or few of them, to actually attack a buffalo, because you can see those horns there. Now those horns, they are capable of throwing a lion right up and over, and they will kill lion, they will injure lion. So these guys really are a force to be reckoned with, so they really need to be careful. There's not really anything else that can really take on a buffalo because of that. Number-wise, do you know how many numbers?
No idea.
No, I'm not sure about how many buffalo there are in the reserve. If maybe one of the viewers can actually help us out with that one, that would be great. Just how many numbers of buffalo in Juma, or even in Kruger as well. If we can get both of them, that'd be great. Oh, there's a hippo yawning there. Just caught the end of it. Okay, Kirby, they are actually having a go at each other. Can you see the other ones responding? So when they open their mouths, the hippos open their mouths to yawn, they're showing off their teeth, their tusks. And you can see that they're both starting to come together, so I might have been right earlier. But that's just to show when they yawn, they show off their tusks, and they show how big they are, and they can size each other up. So remember, animals don't want to fight if they don't need to. If they fight, they could come off injured, and that could mean that they could end up dying somewhere along the line. So they will do all these displays to try and avoid the confrontation, the fighting. So those yawns are one of those, that pulling themselves out the water and flicking their tail, showing how more aggressive they are. It can usually be sorted out by that. There you go, you can see the other one responding there. The other one's getting a little bit close, the one on the right. But what is nice to see is the female with the baby, she's actually quite relaxed at the moment. Now, when the other two came down to the dam, I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago, she was very annoyed. She was really trying to tell them where to go, and she even chased away the buffalo from the water as well. But with that baby getting a little bit old now, just over a week old now, she's starting to relax a little bit. She's getting used to those buffalo coming here, and the fact that there's other 3 hippo in here as well. That baby hasn't worked out how to get on the mother's back yet. And so baby hippos will actually hitch a ride on the mother's back. Because remember, hippos, they don't float. The babies might do to a certain degree, but especially the adults won't float, and they won't swim. They will pull themselves along the ground, and that's how they move. And that's what hippopotamus means. It actually means water horse. So if you can imagine a horse walking underwater, that's basically what the hippo do. So the babies will ride on the backs to save energy, obviously from bouncing up and down, and they'll even sleep on the back of the female hippo as well. Okay. Any stations interested, just an update, 2 in Yati, and 5 or 4.5 in Vubu in Gowrie Down. Just myself and the lot. Okay, just another question from Bristol about the buffalo, if they'd like to sit in the water, and you can see quite clearly they love it. And even when there's no water available but only mud, you'll get buffalo rolling around in the mud and wallowing in the mud, and they really will enjoy just wallowing around. And if you have access to the internet during the day and you have our dam cam on as well, you'll get to see them coming down during the heat of the day when they come down to cool off. And if you have a look very closely, they have little birds sitting on them called the oxpeckers. And the oxpeckers will actually take the ticks, the little ticks that will sit on their body, and they will suck the blood from the buffalo and other animals as well. That's why we saw the oxpeckers on the rhino just slightly earlier. And you'll see them sitting on them, and they'll be taking these ticks off. So it's known as a mutualistic relationship or a symbiotic relationship. So when the oxpeckers are sitting there and they're taking the ticks off, the buffalo is benefiting because he's getting rid of these annoying ticks. And obviously the oxpecker benefits because it gets something to eat. And just at the back of the buffalo, there are some birds out there.
Egyptian geese.
Hard look, it's the Egyptian geese. And they've had about 5 chicks with them. I think they started off with 7. We have been seeing a water monitor lizard around here, so it could be the water monitor lizard's taken 2 of the chicks already. So hopefully those Egyptian geese will be able to protect the rest of their babies and not lose any more. But quite interesting, the Egyptian goose that you see there, if you think about the hieroglyphics from the Egyptians, they have, I'm not sure what letter it is, maybe someone can help me out. They have a letter that is the goose, and the goose is that species, and they are found in Egypt as well, and hence the name Egyptian goose. Awesome, thanks a lot for the feedback, Jack. You're saying their estimated numbers in Kruger for the buffalo are about 9,000. So thanks a lot for that update. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Mary, for getting back to me about the numbers of rhinos. It's estimated, I'm taking it, the 15,000 is both black and white. So they're numbering about 15,000 in Africa, so that's the black and white combined. And in Asia, about 3,000, and that'll be all 3 species combined. So I think those breakdowns I gave you earlier are probably about right then. Thank you very much, Mary, for that feedback as well. Okay, thanks Lockie about the question about disturbing the rhino midden. Is there any danger of disturbing a rhino midden? Only if the rhino is busy doing his business, I think. So that's when you don't want to start upsetting. But if you come across a rhino midden, there's not really any danger of disturbing it. You may even help the rhino, because if you're messing around with it and you have the scent on your feet and you walk, you'll actually be marking his territory, and that's exactly what rhinos will do, the rhino males. When they go in their midden, their toilet, and you quite easily see a rhino midden, because they'll be done from different ages, so you have some very old, maybe some fresh, maybe some half and half. So that's just an area where the rhino go to, and that marks territory. The males will also move their feet in it, so they'll actually scratch their feet in it so that the scent is on their feet, and as they walk they mark their territory. So if you actually go and do the same thing, if you even walk onto that dung, you'll also help mark their territory, so I'm sure they'll actually like you for it. If a female wants to mate, she will go to a male's midden and she will go and carry on her day, and then a male will come along, smell she's been there, realise she wants to mate, and he literally will track her like a little sniffer dog. He will follow that scent. If she has walked around a tree, he will follow that scent right around a tree. So he literally follows her until he finds her. So it's a way of communicating. Thanks a lot, Joe. Good to know that you're watching. There's a colleague of mine who used to work in the zoo, and it's good to know that she's actually tuning in. So that's great. She's also very chuffed that I'm taking a lot of what I'm saying about the zoo as well, because she's still there, she's still working with the animals there. So thanks for the support, Joe. I'm glad you enjoy. Alrighty, shall we move on? Oh. Yep, there the question. Alright, thanks for the question from Mike Ward. You're going to catch me right off balance here. Unfortunately, I've not had the privilege of working very closely with Wild Dog. I would assume because Kruger have wild dog and there's no fences between Kruger and Sabi, remember Sabi's on the western side of Kruger, that wild dog could potentially move through this area. How often they do it? Herman, over to you.
Yeah, we see them every now and then. Not that much, but some of the other lodges around us, the areas we're not traversing, see them, I would say, on a quite regular basis. But it's still something very, very, very special, and you'll always get all the guides rushing to a sighting.
So yeah, so you never know, we might be lucky enough. Well, there's a nice woodland kingfisher just on the left here. So just pulling it back just to see a bird. So I know there's a few bird fanatics as well as myself. There goes a beautiful picture of a woodlands kingfisher there. Absolutely stunning. So yeah, as I say, just there is the potential. Wild dog, as I'm sure you know, Mark, they are fantastic hunters, and they will move through an area very rapidly. They're the most successful hunter in Africa. I'm sure you'll be able to help me with the percentage of kills. I think it's somewhere up in the 70s, 80s percent of hunts do end in a kill, which is very, very high for a predator. But they do need an extremely large area because they really will wipe everything out. We weren't allowed to have wild dog because our reserve was not big enough at 22,000 hectares. So just to give you an idea, the minimum amount of area you need is about 24,000, but even then that's far too small for a pack of wild dogs in the wild. Just to go on to this woodland kingfisher, we have about 10 species of kingfisher in South Africa. Only 3 of which will have, or 4 of which will actually have fish as the main part of the diet. So 10 species and only 4 will eat fish as the main part of the diet. The woodlands is more likely to eat insects and lizards. If you read the books, they're not supposed to eat fish. But on 2 separate occasions, I know of people reporting, and I've actually seen pictures of kingfishers fishing, the woodlands kingfisher fishing. So it's again not the norm, but if there's the opportunity, it may take it. Now we may even get it on camera here because he's definitely looking into the water. So it could be there's maybe some tilapia, can't speak now, tilapia babies in there that it's eyeing up, or maybe something else. So again, just remember, animals do not read the books, they don't watch the documentaries, they live. And we only see a snapshot of their life. And what we see in a documentary for one thing, one animal in one area may be completely different for the same animal in a different area. There's different factors that are involved, different habitats, different animals, different amount of animals, different temperatures. So animals will adapt. They have to. There we go. Did he go down? And did he get something? Not quite. Maybe he just went for a bit of a swim. He certainly was eyeing something up there. I say, if he does fish, then we'll have it on camera. We'll have proof of it. He's going again. Unfortunately, it's a bit dark for my camera to pick up. I'm not going to be able to get any shots of it. And for you guys that weren't on my first 2 interview drives, I like to take pictures as we go as well, and any nice pictures that I take, I do try and post up. I put them on Redbubble, which are my best ones, and I'll put some others on Facebook. So I took some of leopard last time for those viewers who were watching last time and wanted to see those. But as I say, unfortunately, it's just a little bit dark for me to take pictures of this kingfisher fishing here.
Go a little bit forward, because he's actually on that dead branch now. Okay.
He's just sitting out on the bench. Just going to see if we can get a nice shot of him. Now we do have a grey-hooded kingfisher in the area as well, looking very similar. You can see that bright blue. The grey-hooded will have a grey head and also have chestnut on the chest area. So that's how you tell the woodlands kingfisher from the grey-hooded kingfisher. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just to explain about Redbubble, it's just a website where you can put up artwork. You can put up writing, you can put up photography, you can put up pictures that you've painted, and it's just a society, or what would you say, a community of people, very much like the Wild Earth Watchers and the chat rooms, and it's just for people that really enjoy the arts as well. So if anybody is interested in having a look at those leopard pictures, if you look at Redbubble and type in under search TJ99, and you'll be able to pull up some of my pictures for free. You can view them, and as I say, I put my best work up there. Put some leopards up from Juma, and there's also some other animals from Entebbe as well. Okay, Jack's come back with a revised number of the buffalo. He's saying it's 80,000, so that's sounding a little bit better than the 18,000 I think from earlier. So 80,000. Oh, and there's 30,000. Sorry. It looks like there's a Franklin coming into the I find that sometimes the birds are missed, obviously overlooked because of the bigger animals. It's quite nice sometimes just to spend a bit of time and look for some of the birds. And so they're also quite interesting, and a lot of the time the birds will also help you to find the big animals. So like the oxpeckers, if you hear them. So I'm just listening to the hippo there. So sometimes they will actually tell you where the animals are as well. Okay, I'm just going to move off the dam. There's another vehicle behind me as well. So we're going to let them enjoy the buffalo and the hippo. Alright, thanks guys. So stationing behind me on the dam wall, I'm leaving. The Inyati are all yours, enjoy.
That's actually able.
Copy and then etc. All stations, the 2 Inyati and 4.5 in Gowrie Dam are left unattended. Just to reiterate what the Big Five are, because what I sometimes find is people have heard of the Big Five, but they don't always know what the Big Five are. So we have had 2 of the Big Five out on drive this afternoon. We've had the buffalo and we've had the rhino. Now originally the black rhino were part of the Big Five, not the whites, but for tourism it's actually been incorporated into the Big Five. Now I'll tell you where the Big Five actually came from. We also have the elephant, the lion, and the leopard. So those are the other 3 of the Big Five. And originally they were known as the 5 most dangerous and difficult animals to shoot on land. Now remember, the hippo is the most dangerous animal in Africa. They kill more people every year than anything else. But the reason why it's not part of the Big Five, finally, they could stand on the water's edge and shoot into the water, so not very much of a challenge. Nowadays though, it's now the Big Five for tourism purposes. So that's where the Big Five originated from. Okay, so that was Central.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, I'm finally getting to know a road.
This is Gowrie Catlock.
And this is Gowrie Catlock. So we're not doing too badly so far.
No, we're doing good,
And so it's always very difficult when you move to a new reserve, learning the roads. And so I knew 20,000 hectares worth of roads. I was probably one of the very few people on that property that knew exactly where they were all the time. But obviously I was there for 3.5 years, so I had to. It'd be very embarrassing not to have done. But here, as I say, new reserve, and it's very flat. We used to have a mountain that pointed north, and there was no excuses not to know where north was. So here obviously very flat, there's not really much in the way of landmarks to actually help point you in the right direction. So it's going to be... So I hope you guys will enjoy that drive and seeing me get horribly lost. Again, just to go back to, I know some people really want to know a bit about the vegetation here. This is one tree that I know very well. Just here on the right. This is called a silver clustered leaf. Now unfortunately I'm kind of plugged in at the moment, but if you do zoom in on the camera you should be able to see it's quite a silvery colour, and when the sun shines on these leaves it does shine of silver. And on the leaves, it's tiny silver hairs. And when they actually take one of these leaves, it's very high in tannins, this tree. And if you take a leaf and you chew it, it will release those tannins and it will actually help like an anesthetic. So if you have a toothache, this leaf will help not cure the toothache, it will just numb the pain. So if you are ever stuck in the bush and you have a toothache, you find this tree. Very easy to distinguish as well with those silver leaves. There's not really anything else that you can mix it up with. So silver clustered leaf, and if you have a look, there's some red seed pods right at the top of the tree, and they're quite flat, and that's the seed pods there, those very bright red ones. It's also very good as an antidote to poisons if you take the bark. Again, I'm not sure, you'd have to go to Sangoma on how to prepare the bark, and that's just obviously an African doctor, the Sangoma. So if you ever have an ailment and you know you can use the tree but you're not sure how, they'll always be able to tell you. And also the roots, very good. Again, if you've got any cramps, things like that, the roots will also help to relieve that. But again, I'm not sure exactly how the preparation will be, but for the chewing of the leaf, that's all you need to do. And then you spit the leaf out, there's no way you would want to swallow it, believe me. It doesn't taste nice, it tastes extremely bitter. And believe me, the faces that guests have pulled in my time when I've given it to them, well, they've accepted, should I say. It's been quite amusing to actually watch the faces. But as soon as you chew it, those tannins release and you really start to get that effect very straight away. Not very long lasting though, that's the problem. So you'd have to take a pocket full of them and keep chewing them if it really was a bad toothache.
Jigger is a bit temperamental.
Yeah, I think I've got a gremlin inside Jigger again. I'm just going to give it a go again. There we go. There you go, good girl. They always say talk nicely to the vehicles, don't they? We'll get a relationship going, it's okay. A little bit of a drizzle coming.
Yes, I also felt it. I didn't want to say it.
There's a little roller in the tree. Oh, flies. Just flew off. It's just up ahead. Looks like a line of festive roller, this one. Again, the light is not brilliant on it. It could be a European. It's got quite a lot of blue on it. Again, if any of the viewers can help me out, if they can see. Oh, there we go, it was a European. Had a lot of blue on that stomach there. I wonder if we're going to find your elephant.
I hope so.
Are you an elephant whisperer?
No, I have spoken to elephants, but wouldn't call myself the elephant whisperer.
It's quite funny actually if you do find elephants and you see one and they're trying to pick something up with a trunk And you can see that they're just missing it, and they're actually watching you. They're not watching on what they're doing, and they're pretending that they're eating, so you don't think that there's anything wrong. They're actually watching you. It's kind of amusing. Again, very intelligent.
A little bit worried about these drops I'm feeling, but clouds are quite high still, so I'm not thinking we're going to get a lot of water that's going to come down on
It
us.
looks like the clouds are still quite high, so I don't think we're going to get a lot of rain like we did yesterday. Got a little crested francolin running in the middle of the road there. I can see that dark head. Beautiful little bird, actually. So that chestnut and the white stripes. And they generally, if you find them, there's generally a couple of others floating around. And both the male and females will actually call simultaneously to make one sound. So it actually sounds like one bird calling. Now, it's a ranger thing if you try and learn bird calls, and this is one of the very first bird calls you'll ever learn if you do start to become a ranger. And unfortunately, most of them do revolve around drink. And this one is no exception. They'll actually say beer and cognac, beer and cognac. But especially with the francolins, you do have to try and put something to them because they all sound very, very similar, very loud. Yeah, it's amazing a little bird that size can make such a loud sound. But you can see that bill, it's not bright orange, it's a grey colour. Remember I said about the tall francolin coming down to the water's edge where the woodlands kingfisher was sitting? They have the orange legs and the orange beak. So you can see quite nicely just the orange legs. And you can see the spurs at the back there. Now that's where, if you've heard spurfowl, it's just another name for the francolins. And again, the people are changing the bird names to come in line with the rest of the world. Most of the francolins are now called spurfowl. So I'm not sure if this crested francolin has had its name changed yet or not. But those spurs on the back of the legs, that's where the spurfowl get their names from. And they will just be there for fighting. So when the males will start fighting, they'll use those spurs and they'll kick at each other. Again, that's actually quite a beautiful shot there. And again, it's worth just sitting with the birds sometimes, because as I was trying to say earlier when we sat with the baboons, if you sit, animals start to come out, because sometimes they don't like the sound of the engine, they may just hide away, and once you've stopped and they've gotten used to the quietness again, or even just us talking, they might be more likely to come out. Elephants are the ghosts of the bush. They're anywhere between 4 and 6 tons, and yet they could be stood just behind these bushes here, and we just can't see them. They're very, very quiet as well unless they're eating, so it could be that we just can't hear them. And if you sat here, maybe just a couple of minutes just watching this crested francolin preening itself, you never know, we might get a leopard running out after it, or it could be an elephant coming out. So it's always worth just stopping for these small things as well. Or even just having two of them fighting. Again, it's behaviour. But if you're very quick to move on, sometimes you just don't get a chance to see that. And now it looks like he's standing his ground against us. I know, this is my bit of road, go find your own. There you go, little francolin, you're going to move off the road. Again, it's very difficult to get...
Gonna get another break up ahead.
Okay, so folks, kindly, we might just have a bit of a break up further along as well, so do bear with us. But so they do tend to run... Again, you can see that camouflage, and they will just squat in the bush, wait, and if there's anything that comes towards them, they'll wait until the last minute and then fly it. And that startles the predator. It could be a split second, but it could be enough for them to fly away and escape any danger. And if ever you walk out in the bush, believe me, it happens that they do wait while you're walking, and they will fly up right in front of your face. And if you've got a rifle with you, believe me, that rifle is loaded before you realise, okay, it's just a Franklin and not any danger. Believe me, it's brought us out a couple of times.
A little bit of bad patch up ahead. Signal wise.
Okay. Alright guys, so I'm just going to start talking again, but we may go through another bit of bad patch. If anybody's interested in having a look at the zoo I used to work at, it was called South Lakes Wild Animal Park, and I believe they also have a website, so you're more than welcome to have a check out. And a lot of the animals I used to work with, I believe, are still there. And I think even the birth of a white rhino was put on there, and I think by Joe as well. So if you're interested in seeing the birth of a white rhino in captivity, I believe there's a webcam there, and that's as I say, I'm not a great lover of zoos. Don't like...
It should be perfect up on this hill.
Sorry?
It should be perfect when they want
At the top of the hill. Okay. This is?
What is it? It's a main road.
Hold on. Down.
Beautiful Gari cut line.
Yeah, Crocodile Caroline against the top of the hill. Going a little bit faster, trying to get out the area. Okay. Alrighty. That's better. So we're just trying to get out of the bad breakup area, so we're just going a little bit faster. And as I was saying before, I'm not a great lover of zoos, especially when they're just concrete and cage. But nowadays zoos are trying to think about how they're housing the animals. They're actually trying to get natural behaviour coming out, and obviously they're a very powerful educational thing. And that's how I really started getting to understand animals and learning about animals. And at the zoo, I don't think I'd have had that opportunity even to come out here. So for me, as I say, zoos are very important as long as they're done right. That's the most important thing. Let's just check
to the
clouds.
summit, look at that quickly.
Beautiful. Okay guys, we're just going to stop because there's some beautiful clouds up ahead. A beautiful dark pink orange, stunning. And so unfortunately it seems to be highlighting some rain clouds. I say unfortunately, I think we might be lucky enough to miss it on drive tonight, so yay! But we may just get some rain. We did get some rain a couple of days ago, and we do still need it. So I think if we don't, it's going to be a very harsh winter. And someone was asking about migrations and how the winter's going to affect and all that sort of thing. Remember, as winter sets in, obviously a lot of the plants are going to die back. There's going to be a lot less nutrients available to the animals. There's going to be less water. The water levels will fall. I'm not sure how bad Gari Dam's going to be. Someone did send in a picture earlier today. I'm sorry, I do forget the name now. But she actually sent in a picture, I think, from 2 years ago when the dam was completely empty. So hopefully it won't get as bad this year. Because if we do still have water, then it will drag or will bring animals into the area. So we might get a lot more interactions around the water hole. Because remember, if there's less water around, animals are going to have to travel to and from the water to their areas where they find the food. It is going to be a lot more taxing on the animals, but as I say, it will hopefully bring in those animals to the dam cam, so you guys are going to have to keep a very close eye on the dam cam during the day as well as the night. So it should start heating up with sightings over the winter, especially, as I say, if the other areas, the water levels drop. With the migration patterns, as I say, I'm very new to the area, so it'll probably take me a little while to understand the patterns of the animals in this area. I don't know, Herman, do you know much about the patterns of the animals?
Yeah, we don't have massive migrations. They move from open areas to...
Yeah, so it's difficult to say with an area like this, because obviously you don't see these animals regularly either. But we should, over the few months, get to learn the patterns, and obviously the viewers who have been watching a lot, maybe they'll be able to comment, when we see the elephants more in this area. The zebra have started coming into this area. We've been seeing zebra quite a bit recently. Again, it could be the water is dropping. The areas where they need to find the grass is starting to become these type of areas rather than in the open areas. So you will get a small migration certainly in Kruger as well. And I know if you go to Kruger and you go to parts of Kruger at certain times of the year, you will not see elephants or you won't see impala, because they will move around the whole of the park. So they may go to the north and then to the south. And they will generally follow where there's food and water. That's generally why animals migrate, for food, water and mates. So if they've got those three things, there's no reason for them to move. So if there's an area where there's still water, still food, you won't get the animals moving away. In my reserve, my old reserve, we had the zebra moving from the plains in the summer to the mountains in the winter. So obviously they were finding much more food in the mountains where it was sheltered, and then they came down onto the plains during the summer where there was more food. So you will get these small migrations as winter sets in, but nothing really to the extent of the great migration up in Kenya, Tanzania. But as I say, that's also to do with the amount of nutrients available to those animals that do need to migrate. So hopefully that might have just helped you out with that one as well. I do apologise, I can't remember who sent me the question, but it was in a chat room earlier on today as well. Cool. Sorry, can you just repeat that first part? Okay, Mike Woods, thanks again for your question. He's wanting to know, do we find predators are more active during the rain, and if it actually helps them to hunt more? When I was at Entebbe, I did find the lions didn't really care too much whether it was raining or not, which was quite unusual for me because I thought that they wouldn't like the water. I certainly know from the zoo the lions would not put their foot inside the water bowl. They were actually quite scared of the water bowl. But just from what I've seen from Entebbe, those lions really didn't care unless it was very, very heavy. Again, lions, as you well know, they're very lazy cats, so they will really hunt as and when they need to, and they're very opportunistic. But if they don't have to go and hunt, they'll only hunt during the cooler periods, and obviously when it's raining it probably will be cooler, and also at night. So if they're not forced to hunt during the day, which is what we've seen on documentaries before where they've had to hunt and they will take that opportunity to hunt during the day, if there's not that pressure, they'll try and stick to when it's cooler. And as I say, when it's raining, yeah, quite possibly. I have seen it a couple of times at Entebeni where the lions did go and hunt during the day because of rain, but as I say, I couldn't say if it's the norm, if I haven't seen it from there. Maybe you can comment on that, Mike. I would say that would be my guess at it, would be because it's cooler they probably would. The rain could also help to disguise the smell, so yes, it could actually help them to hunt. But yeah, as I say, it's very difficult because I haven't had enough experience seeing that. So if there is anybody that has seen it, obviously with leopard as well, I'd really appreciate you also joining in, having your comments. But that would be my answer, quite possibly because it is cooler. I don't know if you've seen leopards hunting much during the rain?
I'm actually thinking about one specific incident. When we were driving around and we didn't see leopards or anything, we just drove past a herd of impala, and the next moment the rain just started, it was like a cloud break, and it just quickly started raining very, very hard. And the next moment we just heard all the impalas going crazy, and then we saw the leopard just running across the road with the impala. So he actually waited for that rain because it was quite noisy, I would think.
Yeah.
So the impalas were quite distracted, and they cut for them.
It also covered the smell as well, obviously with the rain falling. So yeah, there you go, Mike. Sorry, quite possibly yes. And let's say if anybody else wants to chip in, feel free as well. If they've heard of any other stories, but yeah, I think with that story and with Entebeni, I would say so.
Shortcut Gallagher.
Aha. Okay, we have a piece of branch in the road, but it doesn't look fresh. Now that branch would more than likely have been from elephant. Remember, elephants will take a branch off the tree, they'll stick it in their mouth, they'll chew it just like a lollipop or something like that and walk with it. And then when they've finished chewing the bark off of it, they'll drop it and carry on. Nice marula tree just in front of us here on the left. Very nice perching spots for leopard. Again, that's another difference between the leopard at Entebeni and the leopard here. You'll often find leopards in the trees, especially in Kruger, because remember there's a lot of other predators that could steal their kill. So they could stash their kill in the tree and be safe from hyenas, from lions. Even jackal might try and steal something from the leopards if there's enough numbers, quite possibly. But again, that wouldn't be the norm. As in Entebeni, we very rarely found kills in trees. Because of the big rock, there's about a 600-meter high escarpment, and the leopards tended to stick to the rocky areas. Yes. So our leopards would tend to leave their kills where they were, especially when they're on the upper escarpment, so there's no lions to contend with. The brown hyena, yeah, maybe they would try, but the brown hyena are not as bold as spotted hyena. Brown hyena will also forage alone, so one brown hyena against one leopard really wouldn't be much of a match. The leopard would win. Unless it was a very small leopard, but yeah, again, that's quite speculation. So again, the different factors for the same cat in a different area changes its behaviour already. We occasionally found the odd animal up a tree, but not much. I remember finding even a bush hook behind a rock that the leopard had killed, and he just stashed it behind a rock. And we knew it was leopard because we had the leopard tracks around, and we also knew that there's no other predators in that area that could do that. Okay, thank you. Again, with the lights fading now, I'm just going to see if we can go back to the old quarantine area. I think that's possibly where the leopard was seen earlier. Was that right?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Okay. I could be getting my days mixed up. Could have been the day before, actually. No, they did have a leopard. It was... I don't know how you say it, if I can be reminded.
What, Induna, Mishu?
No, it was. She began with an S. I'm sure all the viewers are shouting her name out right now, and I'm trying to hear you. Saseka, there we go. Saseka. Thank you, I heard you. But yeah, I'm sure all the viewers are going, no, Saseka. So yeah, apparently Saseka ran across the road, and I was told in the chat she was about 3.5 years old, I believe. And she was one of Karula's old daughters, I think it was, but I could be wrong. It may have been Safari's.
No, it is.
It's Karula's old.
Saseka's Karula's first litter.
First litter, okay. So again, especially with the viewers who have been with Wild Earth Crew for a long time, I really would appreciate you guys having some input as well. Obviously, you guys know the family tree as well, so feel free to send in any information to pass on to me. I'd really appreciate it. Learning about the family in this area, as one of you nicely put it this morning. So Saseka ran across the road, and as I said, I think it was around the old quarantine area where we were earlier, so we're just going to see if we can make a bit of a turn around there, because with it getting cooler again, they should start to be more mobile. This was the dip that I nearly threw Mark off, was it?
Oh, yes.
Again, if any of you were watching my very, very first drive out, and then he threw Mark off the back of the seat of Jigger. Unfortunately, he didn't look too happy with me after that. So it's all getting used to the differences between the Land Rover and the Land Cruiser and how they handle. And I say, vehicles are very much like animals. They have their own personalities, believe me. So just trying to get the feel for this vehicle, feel what you can do, what the limitations are, where the roof spots are, that sort of thing. As I say, it will take time, but I will get there eventually. Another Franklin up ahead. Again, with this light fading, it is difficult to see what species, but just from the size of it, it could be another little crested. Yeah, little crested there. Which way should I go? Which way should I go? Shame. Funny, they should have started calling now. With it starting to get darker, they will tend to call first thing in the morning, last thing at night. I definitely heard them this morning. They were right outside my window. It's a nice little wake-up call. Same with the Woodlands Kingfisher. And for those of you who've never heard it, here goes another impression. There he goes, so like, and if you get that loud outside your window, again, it's a nice wake-up call. I think it's slightly better. You hear it?
Yeah.
There you go, I speak woodland kingfisher apparently.
I can't, just after you did it, I heard it.
He's answering me. Slightly better than my Hippo impression.
Have you done a Hippo?
Yeah, we did one for the people in the chat room, myself and Caroline, the other day, which was quite special.
I also called my Hippo impression special, but in a special kind of way.
Well, Caroline got hers called a cartoon hippo.
Oh, is it?
I think mine was just very sick. Okay, what do we got here? Another Franklin. Oh, that's... This time we have some little southern babblers. Looks like.
So you on
up in the tree. I'm up in the tree.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Southern pied babblers by the looks of it. There we go. Come on, turn your head. And there's one on the floor as well, actually.
So let me go for the one on the floor. That's actually the one I saw.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's alright.
Well, what have you got? Oh, he's got something in his foot. I can't see too clearly what it is he's got in his foot. Could be an insect. It's definitely something that he's not willing to let go of.
Oh, it looks like a millipede there. Can it be?
I wonder if it'd be a millipede because a lot of animals won't eat it with that cyanide that's in it.
I'm almost certain it's a millipede.
Is it? Yes.
Looks like it.
That would be incredible if it is. Millipedes do have cyanide, so a lot of animals won't eat them. So if it is a millipede, that's actually quite amazing. I say whatever it is, he's definitely unwilling to let it go and he's struggling to fly with it. So they look like babblers to me, but if any of the viewers can actually just help me out, because they're not looking completely right. So I just... Yeah, they've got that black around the back of the head, unless it's a juvenile. And with that, so babblers do tend to form groups, and both of them have got this black on the back of their head, so that's not normal for the southern pied babbler, which is what I thought it was. So this is something new to me, so if anybody wants to help me out, because it's not a southern pied babbler after all, because it's that black on the face there. Otherwise I'll have to try and ID it when I get back to the lodge and just have a nice look through, so I'm trying to page through my book here. Oh, here. White-browed sparrow weaver. It does occur here. And it's got that dark patch around the back, but it hasn't got it's got a black dark cap. Otherwise, as I say, I'll try and see if we can ID it back at the lodge, and I'll see if we can, I'll put it on my Facebook profile for those of you who won't be in the chat room afterwards. Caroline, is there anybody coming back with that bird ID? Caroline, your voice has gone very deep all of a sudden. Jad, if you're there, do you have any ID? Oh, okay. No worries. Alrighty, well, no one's coming back with the ID either, so as I say, I'll try and do that for you guys. I'll have a look back if anyone took a picture and see if I can have another look through the books. And I'll put it up on Facebook for those of you who are interested, would like to know what it was. Just looking out for any tails dangling in these big marula trees. As I said earlier, these are going to be a nice place for the leopards to actually lie down. But I'll keep a lookout on the ground as well, because there may be a tail flicking, ears flicking, that sort of thing. That might just notify us that there's something around here. We haven't heard any lions. Have you heard any lions yet? So there might not be any lions in the area. Lion calls can carry quite a few kilometres, usually about 2 or 3 kilometres, but it could be up to 5 kilometres if it's very, very still air. But obviously, again, it has to be very cool. So usually in the middle of the night, you'll be able to hear it quite far away. Very, very deep. It's like a sort of thing. How's yours? That's more like a monkey. So I don't know. The guys seem to be able to do it better than girls. I don't know, with a deeper voice. Usually. Usually.
You just couldn't get it probably. That was a perfect line.
Yeah. Both male and female lion will call. And that will be to find each other if they've put a bit of distance between each other. It'll also be for territorial defense. Can I go around the back of this plane?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see if we can go around the back of here. It's actually becoming quite a nice temperature now, hey?
Yeah, it's perfect.
So the clouds have lifted. So hopefully it might be clear for tomorrow's drive as well, fingers crossed. And I believe I'm doing tomorrow AM drive. So if you guys are able to join me, that would be great. And that's
You're right here.
So I've just had some feedback of what people think those birds could have been. Let me just check. So this is my Rainbird book, because I thought it might have rained. So it's very well used. It's my Bible. But if it looks like it's going to rain, I don't like to bring out my nice new one. So that's why it looks as tatty as it does. So unfortunately, let me just quickly check here. Shrikes 372. Okay, we've had a couple of responses, possibly the lesser grey shrike, I think it was. It didn't have grey on the back, and they don't really congregate like they do there, as far as I know. So I don't think it was the lesser grey shrike. Can you just repeat the other shrike? Okay. I think someone else said maybe the red-backed shrike. It could possibly have been. They looked like there was a lot more black down by sort of the cheek area. And again, they shouldn't really be congregating in groups like that. But thanks a lot for the feedback. It could well have been, so I'll see if I can possibly this one. Okay, Penny and Bobby in Durban, you say it could be a white crown shrike. If you know the other name, that would be great, because I've only got... I don't have the White Crown Shrike in my book. Doesn't help me much. But thanks a lot for the feedback, guys. Keep bringing them in, and as I say, I'll have another look around. I could be wrong about the shrikes congregating. I don't know of them congregating like that, because there was at least 4 or 5 of them that looked the same, and Herman also saw them as well. Yep. As I say, keep those suggestions coming in. We will get to the bottom of it. I hate not knowing. Okay, thank you. Where are we?
Just click reverse quickly.
Sorry guys, we've just bumped into another vehicle. I didn't hear someone, so just for etiquette, I'm just going to pull away and then just ask if they have a sighting.
No, they're just sundowners actually.
Oh, okay.
We're quite close to the dam. We just go down this road.
Okay, just to stick with etiquette, they're having a drinks break. That's usual for when you come out on safari. We take some drinks and have drinks in the bush, and we go and find usually nice quiet spots, have sundowners, watch the sun go down, and enjoy the smell of the African bush, the sounds of the bush, that sort of thing. So that's what the vehicle's doing out there. Okay, Caroline's just telling us that there's some nice hippo behaviour down in the downs, so we're just going to make another turn down there. Apparently the female's getting very defensive of baby again, so we're just going to try and make our way down there.
Straight, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, getting ahead of myself there. I was so convinced it was this left, sorry guys. I can hear the rattling Sister Cola going now. I like to call it the bush fat machine. Like it's... And when he opens his mouth, it's very black inside. That was a rattling Sister Cola. So the Sister Colas are very difficult to identify. They all look pretty much the same, so you have to go for their calls as well as their flight patterns. And this particular Sister Cola you'll find in the bush like this. But if he sat next to me, I probably couldn't tell you if it was a Sister Cola, what type of Sister Cola it was. But his call, very, very, very clear, very easy to recognize. You got a split picture, Carla?
We're about a minute away. We're about a minute away from the dam.
you can hear the francolins. I don't know if you can get it. We might be a little bit far into the bush, it's a little bit soft. I say there's some francolins calling there, which was very loud, but I don't think it came over, unfortunately. This is where we saw the rhinos a little bit earlier. Oh, and there's a nightjar in the road. Oh. Sorry, little nightjar. Again, very difficult to tell you which type of nightjar. I have been hearing fiery-necked nightjars recently calling. So it could possibly have been that one, but without seeing the face. And it's also can be quite difficult even when you do. Okay, so we've got some beautiful hippo behavior going on. Let's stop here or go?
This is good.
Yeah, here. Remember what I was saying to you guys earlier about the hippo trying to raise his body out of the water? That's what was just going on there. Apparently, Karen was just filming in, she was watching the female and she was getting quite defensive of the baby. So there's three hippos are to the right and the female with the baby is to the left by the looks of it. There you go, can you see his body is just right out of the water there? They'll also squirt water at the nostrils, snort, that sort of thing, and they'll even sort of kick the tail backs and forwards. Now I've been trying to look into the communication of the hippo. I've not really found much on the internet, so again if, there we go, there's the female raising her body right out, and I think she'll be doing that tail flicking like I was just saying. There we go. They also do that when they defecate, so sometimes they'll also defecate while they're making this display as well. Again, she's just protecting that baby. Remember, that baby is roughly about a week old, so he's tiny, absolutely tiny. They can weigh maybe between 25 and 40 kilos when they're born, so very, very small compared to the 1.5 ton of its mother. Sometimes they can even reach up to about 3 tons for a very, very large male, maybe even 4 tons I've read in books. But the average for a female is about 1.5 tons. Okay. As I say, I was trying to look into if they use sonar echolocation. It doesn't look like much research has been done. I know a friend of mine who's a tour leader, she's also going to do a PhD. She did mention that there were some people trying to look into the infrasound through the water of a hippo, because they have the bristles on their chin. It could possibly be that they do hear the sounds into water, which it does seem to be sort of decided upon from the papers that I've been reading, so they can hear above as well as below the water, and I think possibly the bristles on their chin assist with that. So remember, the bristles on the chin, as I was trying to say the other day, just act like the hairs in your ear. The hairs in your ear help you to hear, and when the air actually hits the hair, it moves it backs and forwards, and that's what causes your brain to know that you've got that sound coming in. So the hairs on the chin could act in the same way, so they could actually be hearing underneath the water. So there could be some communication going on that we cannot hear. It's inaudible to us because it's happening underneath the water. Especially with them raising the body up like they are now, I think there probably will be some sound coming from them underwater. Apparently there's, sort of like a whine sound coming from them in certain situations, possibly a baby wanting milk, that sort of thing. There could be quite a long click, apparently, and that generally is between babies and sub-adults. And then another sound which I can't really remember what it was now. It seemed like a grunt or something. So they are starting to research it, but it'll be quite interesting to try and find if the research has gone ahead or not. So I'm just going to try and keep my ear to the ground about that. There you go. Go ahead with the question. Thanks, Marlene, for your question. It's difficult to say. You're wanting to know, obviously it looks like they're ganging up on the female. Do they want to mate with her? To be honest, I'd say at this stage, I'd say no. I think it's more likely she's moved to that area, because they were actually sitting in roughly the same area as they were when we were watching the buffalo, and the female was this side. And it looks like she's made her way the other side. So I think she's moved into their area. They're quite happy with the distance, but she's closed that distance, and now they're just saying, hey, back off. And she's going, well, hey, back off to you too. And obviously she's just making sure she's protecting that baby. It could be there's a nice grazing area out the back there. I've lost where she's gone. And so she could be having a nice grazing area, or maybe there's a reason why she wants to move that side. So I don't think it's to do with mating this time. I think it's just her forcing her way past them and they not wanting to back off from their area, basically. Thanks for the question. That was a good question. Seems to have quieted down. I think she's possibly gone past them now. I can't see her. Hi guys, well thank you so much for joining me on my first official drive here. I've had a really good day. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for all the questions. There's been some really awesome questions there as well, so you've really got my brain working, which is great. And as I say, I will try and get back to you on the idea of that bird, and I'll put it up on the Facebook. But hopefully you guys will join me tomorrow morning as well. We start at 6 o'clock Central African time. So I hope you can join me for that. Otherwise, take care. Oh, sorry, I've just been reminded. So I have just been reminded there's also a night drive tonight. I do apologise, with Jared and Kat. Jared will be presenting, I believe, and Kat on camera. So do join us, and Alex will be in final control, and that will be at 7 o'clock, I believe. So that will be the next drive on. So that's in about half an hour's time. That drive will be going out, and as I say, tomorrow morning will be my next game drive. So thank you very much for joining me, and hope to see you again. Take care.